agenda. Since there's so many folks here that are probably wondering what's going on, I thought I would read a speech. Maybe you'll answer some of their questions ahead of time.
Nobody can hear you. I'll turn the microphones on.
Okay, hello.
Mine's on.
This one's not working.
Here, take
Want
mine.
me? Okay. Oh.
No, that's mine.
Okay. What the heck is that one? Okay. Is this better, guys? Does that help work out?
You proud of what you have?
Can you hear with this?
Yeah. Your voice is louder though. Yeah.
I did a lot of jury trials. Is it working?
We'll see. See if that helps. These aren't working. They're not working.
I just heard
Hello?
them.
Is that better?
They're not working.
Okay, well, I'll just talk really loud.
Here, sit over here. Sit over here.
I don't think that was working. I don't think yours
None of
was
them
working
working.
either. I think it was just your voice.
I think
Really?
it's just raising
Yeah.
my voice. I don't think any
Hello?
of them are working.
Nah.
You're
No?
just loud.
Okay.
I was married for so many years.
Well,
Okay.
hey.
So, you'll have to excuse me while I read this. So, an explanation of why we're all here tonight. In or about early November, my insurance company called me to set my business's rates for 2024 insurance premiums. After noticing an increase of over $700 a month for my insurance, I started questioning my insurance company. In my conversations with the administrative manager, Diana Christobeck, she too had issues with her homeowners policy and alerted me that she had been getting requests from residents and closing companies to have letters written from the Finleyville Fire Department saying they were also a township fire department as well as Alrama Fire Department. It seemed to me at first that it was based on the distance of these properties from the Alrama Fire Department that seemed to be the issue. After this board reached out to the township's insurance broker, we were made aware that the primary issue is the ISO rating. The ISO is for an insurance services office. They create the ratings for fire departments and communities of which they're in. These ratings calculate how well equipped fire departments are to put out fires in the community. Then ISO provides that score to the insurance companies. 50% of that score is based on the fire department's information, including staffing levels, training records, equipment maintenance records, and proximity of properties to the firehouse. 40% of the rating comes from the prevalence of fire hydrants and how much pressure they have after testing is available to put out the fires. The other 10% comes from the quality of the area's emergency communication system, 911. After analyzing that data it collects, ISO assigns a public protection classification on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the best of the best, and 10 meaning that the area's fire suppression program does not meet the minimum requirements. In January, this board was informed that the Alrama Fire Department was a 10, meaning they did not, as far as ISO was concerned, meet the minimum fire suppression requirements. The next step this board did was set up an information gathering meeting with both Alrama Fire Department, Finleyville Fire Department, the Chief of Police, as well as with Tyler Olson of ISO last week. During that meeting, Tyler made us aware of attempts in 2021 and 22 that had been made to get both Chief Bailey as well as the Chairman Heather Dare to respond to their ISO requests, which are the emails that are included as exhibits to the resolution of tonight, which you all have in your hands. Mr. Olson also informed everyone at last week's meeting that in October of 2022, in a phone call, Ms. Dare told him that the township was not concerned with the rating they would receive, as the emails that I'm referred to clearly state the impact on home sales as well as insurance policies for the residents would be canceled. It is unfathomable why she would make such a statement on behalf of not only the whole board, but this entire community. After not being able to receive fire hydrant test records from PAWC assumingly because this township did not pay the monthly fees to PA American Water for all of 2020, 21, and most of 22, after receiving no positive response from Union Township nor the Alrama Fire Department. ISO filed their report in April of 2023, which is really making effect right now due to the fact that the insurance renewals start in January. ISO said they could start a re-review process for Alrama Fire Department on March 6th. However, it would take in excess of 6 months to finish their report findings and possibly additional months to finalize the mapping and notification to the insurance agencies. We are receiving dozens of letters a week of policies being canceled and home sales being stopped, which is why this board is considering this resolution tonight. I'd like to caveat that this resolution is coming with the full commitment that this board will do everything in its power and everything at its disposal to work with the Alrama Fire Company, ISO, and the county to correct the issues with the Alrama Fire Department's information, as well as with PAWC fire hydrant testing. In the last 2 weeks, this board has been in contact with Adam Bromley of PAWC, who has had Chris DeMorris contact us, and he advised that the fire hydrants would be put at a top priority for testing and possibly done this week to latest next week. Right. We have also been in contact with Jerry Coleman of Washington County Director of Public Safety. He said that he would have the Mount Lebanon Fire Chief contact both the township and the Alrama Fire Department to see how he could assist in gathering the information. Although this was quite a hit to us pretty early on the stage, I want to make the residents know that, rest assured, this does not mean that the Alrama Fire Department lacks the training or lacks the equipment or lacks anything. What's lacking is the data. That without the data, the assumption is to be what it is. So it's not necessarily that they don't have it. It's that the data hasn't been reported. The data wasn't given to ISO. Therefore, the data is assumed to be the 10. So I didn't want to assume, or you to assume, that they don't have the training, they don't have the equipment, they don't. But without the data, that is the assumption, and it remains a 10, which means that this township lacks the minimum requirements for fire suppression program in Union Township, which is why this board is considering this resolution tonight while we work on getting that data to ISO and the county to correct this situation for the Alrama Fire Department.
And if you don't mind if I interrupt.
No, please do.
And part of the issue was, there were two main issues with this ISO rating. The one issue was regarding the fire hydrant testing for 8 fire hydrants. And those fire hydrants, the board's already been in touch with PAWC, and they're going to do the testing either next week or the following week. I don't know why those tests weren't performed by PAWC, but PAWC has been advised it's an emergency situation, and they will do the testing, and once the testing is done, they'll provide the testing to, I guess, the township and Tyler Olson. The second issue deals with the fact that, according to what I understand, they said they tried to contact Lenny Bailey. Lenny Bailey's, and I'll take Lenny Bailey's word for it, saying basically that, he said they didn't contact, but, be it as it is, that's the issue. And I'll take your word for it, Lenny, as I've known for a number of years. So the basic issue is we're trying to get this thing resolved. There will be a meeting, I believe, on March 6th. We already have been, we'll be touched base with that lady you mentioned, Bailey, I think her name, Connie Daly. We'll also be in touch with the Tyler Olson to see if we can get this thing bumped up. We'll try to figure out what's going on in terms of this. Why would it take 6 months to do a survey? Doesn't make sense to me. But that'll be the first thing I do tomorrow is call this Tyler Olson up to see about how quick we can have you back online. Everybody on this board has full confidence in your department, full confidence in the men and ladies that work with you. It's just the concern we have is the insurance situation right now. And the township, like Michelle, as I call you, Mary Ann, like Michelle said, basically, they're going to work as expeditious as possible to get this thing resolved.
It's like to assume that the fire hydrants aren't working. They're working. They just haven't been tested. The data hasn't been entered. And until that happens, it goes as if they're not working.
And the thing about it is, we all have to work together. I mean, we have Finneyville Fire Department, we have El Rema Fire Department, we have the township, and we have the residents. Everybody has to work together. And that's what we're doing here today. Okay? All right, public participation is the first one we have.
Oh, okay. It's Chief Bailey.
Yeah, so my concern was with the ISO. On February 15th, we sat here at this table, myself, the township supervisor, Jake Lawrenson, filling over chief, and we met with Tyler Olson, and he did say he tried to contact us. I've been fire chief at El Reno for over 20 years. I've never, ever went through an ISO survey. So somebody on behalf of the township has been doing this survey. Because we were at a class 6, and then boom, we're at a class 10 because all this stuff is. So I just want to make sure the residents know that this ain't all our responsibility.
No, it's lack of data. With lack of data.
This letter was addressed to the township. I've never seen a letter addressed to the El Remo Fire Department.
So
And this letter I got came from one of the previous secretaries that used to be here. I don't recall
What are you looking at there?
the letter from ISO, from Tyler Olson, with the classification survey, everything. The same one you guys all have, giving the incident.
Okay, all right, okay.
So, you know.
And again, I'll put faith in what you said.
Right. And at that meeting is what I get, is we talked about breaking the township down in the zone where, okay.
to make the less
Yeah,
distance from
the
fire
less distance
department.
for the fire service, and we were all in agreement on that. And now we're boom, we want to make Finneyville a primary, which I have no problem with these guys. We work well with them, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that this ain't all our fault the way it's getting pointed towards us.
No, no one's pointing at your fault. Part of it's PAWCO. And it's not, again, I'll take your word that
The
you weren't.
majority of it's the townships also. I wanted the
Well, I was
township to take liability for it.
And that happened, I think, what, 21?
Well,
I talked to the fire chief from Jefferson Hills today, and he just went through this ISO rating. He's a class 4, and he said the municipality is responsible also for it.
so you can see by the emails attached to the resolution, they started emailing the township on August of 2020.
I'll be
Do they
frank.
have an email address for the fire department on there? 'Cause I went all the way back through my email.
This is to the township, this email, stating that they've been unable to get a response in over 5 years from the fire department, which maybe they have the wrong contact. I'm giving you that. They probably, they had no response.
This is something that we would not drop the ball.
Why the township didn't reach out and give them a better contact number, I don't know. They're not. Then you can see it continues to July and August of 2022, where they're imploring this township to reach out to you. They're asking them to reach out to you.
We never did about this part. I can tell you that.
It says, I'm following up on the letters that were previously sent for the fire protection classification and the PPC rating. Please see attached. These were sent to Ms. Dare. Thank you for taking my call today. I wanted to follow up and discuss the importance of completing these updates. They're asking for the township to reach out to the fire department because they're getting no response. And again, I don't know what number they have. I don't know what contact information. I believe you that you didn't get contacted. Obviously, somebody would answer a firehouse, right? So they must have the wrong
There's an
number.
answering machine there. People leave
But
messages.
in the
and they return
emails,
calls.
you can see that they were having phone conversations with this township and having responses to emails. But they were told, as you were in that meeting, ISO was told by the chairman of the board at the time that they were not concerned with the rating of this township.
And that day we left
And that was
meeting
from
here,
Mr. Olson's
Tyler
mouth.
Olson set up, well, he gave me the contact for the lady to do the survey.
Mm-hmm.
And that day we left here, I called that lady as soon as I got back to work.
I wish
set
you
up the
notified me
survey,
as well.
Which is March the 6th at 10 a.m. at the fire department. And my guys and women, they have been working tirelessly on getting all the paperwork, all the data together for it. So, and most of it's in this paper. So anybody wants to see it, it's there. So.
Anyone have any questions for the chief?
No.
or anything?
Who's next?
Jamie Edwards, 2 Circle Avenue. Oh.
First, we'd like to thank Lenny for everything you've done for El Rema in 20 years of fire chief, 20 plus years, and 10 plus years of emergency service. My first question is, you guys want to change El Rema from primary and give it to Finleyville. What's the response time for people in El Rema?
So we wouldn't not be using the services of El Remo Fire Department. Same way it was before with the people on the other side. Like if there was a fire, say at Trax Farm, there would still be library, Finleyville. It's not like El Remo wouldn't be a fire department within the community. It would be that they wouldn't be the primary call for the temporary basis until this situation is.
They wouldn't be the primary call for El Remo.
Right?
That's what you said. They wouldn't.
Anywhere in the township, it wouldn't be the primary
That's
call.
nuts.
Exactly.
Crazy.
So I live 2 blocks from the fire hall. So you're telling me that I have to wait for Finleyville to get to my
No.
house?
El
If
Rema
there's a
would
structure
probably
fire.
still be dispatched, just like I'm a half hour away from El Rema, and I've always, it's not like Finleyville
You
does
live
it.
in Union Township, you don't live in Finleyville. You live
I
in,
said I'm a half hour from
you're
El
a Union
Rema.
Township resident, you're not a
They have a thing,
Finleyville.
I get it, but
Two different
Finleyville
towns.
does appear because they are a
different
fire
towns.
department servicing this community.
they have a thing
It's
called,
not like my place would burn down without a cooperation between the 2 fire departments.
they have a thing called, what they call run cards. And the run cards are submitted to 911, to Jerry Cohen, the public safety director. And the run cards tell the 911 who gets dispatched. So when something occurs as an emergency, a run card would indicate, El Rema and Finleyville would be both probably called to that situation.
You probably call what you're putting Finleyville primary.
It's primary at this point in time, but the run card, when you have a run card, even though you have, like, say, you have, like, Canton Township, Salister Bay, even though one might be primary, the run card will say, when something happens, you dispatch both of these departments. That's the way I understand.
Well, that's what they're doing now, if I'm not mistaken.
I assume they are. 'Cause they have-
That's correct. El Remo and Finleyville go on almost every call.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
because-
like Finleyville has to wait for El Rema to come because they're the primary. They both get dispatched.
They both get dispatched on these run cards.
Okay, so you said a few moments ago that in the iOS
ISO.
ISO rating, that any area that is more than 5 driving miles from the nearest fire station is automatically rated a 10. So Finleyville Fire Hall is more than 5 miles to my house.
But you have a
So
fire
is that
hall in El
like you're
Rema.
going from making El Rema primary to making Finleyville primary? Now they're going to get a 10 because it's more than 5 miles to my house.
No,
So
so
what
it's
sense
a
does that
fire
make?
hall, not your, it doesn't say your primary fire department. You don't have to be within 5 miles of your primary fire department. You still will be near El Rema Fire Department, correct?
They're not
So
going to
they're
be my
within 5
primary.
miles.
Finleyville is.
But it doesn't, the rating is based on how close to a fire department, not the primary fire department.
Okay.
I am currently more than 5 miles away from El Rema as our primary.
Okay.
And ma'am, this is
Are
not a permanent situation either. This, as Mr. Bay and I discussed,
Yeah, it is.
this, no, it's not. We're going to have a meeting. No,
No, it will be, Danny. Come on.
well, I'm not going to let that happen. No. But I think from my perspective, when we have the ISO meeting with that lady, I guess Mr. Bailey's talking about on March 6th, what I'll do tomorrow is basically see how fast we can forward that El Rema can be a primary, and I guess you guys been talking about a zone, correct, Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, we were talking about zones now, which the township's already broken down into zones.
Well, and that's
It
what,
should have been
again,
done a while ago, but it never has.
so once we find out what's going on, then we'll push this through to go have.
But right now,
So
people
it's
don't-
fair to say.
The issue is your rating in El Rema. It's a detriment to every resident in township. The logical first step is to make Finleyville Fire Department our primary.
So the data
Let's
is
get the
gathered.
numbers done. You need to do your homework and talk to Tyler on the 6th and see how fast that improvement process can take place. That's where we're at.
For right now, residents are losing their homeowners insurance. Home sales have stopped. There is a large scale business in this community.
And nobody knew about this until like just recently.
Absolutely.
We didn't know that it was a 10.
The
Normally
previous
a
boards did not
township never knows.
do justice to the township. They neglected to read the letters that they received and take appropriate action.
Normally, ISO never reaches out to a township. It was out of desperation that they reached out to the prior board to try to implore them to have the fire department call them so they could do this study.
Okay, so it's fair to say that it was the township's fault that El Rama Fire Hall got a 10.
That's not
Normally-
necessarily true.
Normally, a township doesn't
Okay, so
even
That's not
okay,
true.
so wait a
get
minute. And
contacted.
for the rating, what did El Rama fail to do? Was it communication, emergency communications?
Failure
Was
to
it the water
respond to
supply?
requests to provide the information to ISO.
How could he respond to it if he wasn't getting the emails?
I don't have the answer to that.
We don't
That
know.
falls on the
Why
prior
should I?
No,
You're
no,
supposed
no,
to
no,
know.
no. Every fire
Why
department
wasn't
knows
the
they get
water
rated
bills
by
paid?
ISO.
That's
How
the
long
township.
ago were they rated? And did they question why they hadn't been rated in the last 8 years?
You'd have to ask the secretary of the township.
No, the fire department, they know they do ISO ratings. It's been a long time since they had one.
You didn't get the email. It's your paper.
They may not have gotten
Well,
the
this
Your
email
exhibit A,
came,
your
if you,
exhibit B,
if you,
your exhibit
if you
C.
read the email, you'll see that it was a last ditch effort to reach out to the township to implore them to
Well,
reach
if they
out
reached
because
out to the
fire
township, why
department's
didn't the
not-
township reach out
Because
to
the
them?
fire department is
What
not
kind of
answering them.
communication do you two have?
The old board, it wasn't us.
And I have one.
You gotta quit blaming stuff that happened years ago.
Well, that's when it happened. That's when it happened. That's when it happened, Albert. That's when it happened.
When did it happen?
None of you got
2020, 2022, and the people they spoke to,
Is that the last time the township got a letter on it? 2001?
yeah, well, until we got recently notified.
And instead of working with the fire,
Why aren't those people?
instead of working with the fire company, you're.
We reached out to
You're
ISO,
jumping
we reached out to ISO because residents were calling saying their insurance was being canceled.
Why aren't the
We
old board being
investigated.
held liable
Either,
for
sir,
this?
either you're, she's at the podium right now, so either come up to the podium, do your public comment, but
I just have one more question. I want to know why Lenny wasn't offered emergency management coordinator this year.
so, to be honest with you,
Yes, I
Peace
like
out.
honestly.
PSATs, we all went to a PSATs convention. PSATs and Washington County Emergency all said that the fire department chief at any community should not be the emergency management coordinator. Their words were they need to be boots on the ground. They highly
That's
suggested.
ridiculous. After 10 plus years, you don't even talk to him, you don't tell him, you just give it to somebody else.
Well, to be honest with you, when we looked up on Washington County, the person that was listed actually at the county was Sam Carroll from Harshman Associates.
I call it favoritism and a bunch of
I was saying,
bullshit.
that is who, that is,
years.
I'm just saying what the old board listed as the person. Look it up. The old board listed Sam Carroll from Harshman Associates as the emergency contact coordinator.
All of a sudden, you want to change it. He's been there for over 10
Well, Sam
years.
Carroll didn't work here anymore. That's who was listed. That's who the county thought it was. That's who was listed at the county level. It's
Just
still
keep
on their
blaming everybody,
website.
Michelle.
The only thing,
That's
Michelle,
what it
you're
is, a
right.
bunch of blaming on everybody else. Don't take
The only thing is, I
responsibility.
think it all comes down to lack
And
of
in
communication.
talking to Lenny about the emergency
That's the main
management,
thing.
he said he had things to do anyway.
I think it just comes down to
Okay,
lack of
so who's the next
communication
person?
is the main thing, right? I mean,
Leroy Harkins?
Yeah, most of my questions have been answered, listening to everything. The only thing I can come up with here is there is a big lack of communication, and as soon as you found that letter out, you should have called Lenny or myself, and we would have had it.
We did.
You called?
We called as soon as
You called me?
we called Lenny.
You called me? The township has had my number on file for years and years and years.
you gotta tell
I
them.
have never heard anything.
When we had a meeting in December about fire contracts, Mr. Bailey mentions in there about the ISO rating. So he was aware.
But yeah,
He was aware.
He was
This
aware.
township was
And
not
believe
aware.
me,
at that
I know
time.
Lenny has been working on
This
it.
township was not aware in December about the ISO rating.
When
But
did you
Mr. Bailey
become
mentions
aware?
this. In January, when we
I
started
don't
to
believe
call
that,
around.
because we've known about this since last fall.
Well, we're
And
not
we
a
haven't
fire
seen it.
department.
What?
We're not a fire department. ISO isn't something a township normally deals
Isn't it
with.
your job to take care of the township? That's why you sit up
But
there.
ISO is something only comes to the township when it becomes an issue with the fire department.
It never comes to the fire department. It comes to the township. And the township, if they do not,
No,
of course it
no.
does.
We
You
weren't
can't
told-
tell me it goes down to the fire office.
We
It
were
did not.
not told that by Tyler Olson when we met with him. They contact the fire departments first. He reached out to
He
Union
said-
Township.
Who did he call from the fire department?
I don't
Call
know.
them up. I mean, we were.
want his
I
We
don't
invited
believe
the
that.
fire departments to the meeting.
I'm
He
sorry,
said
I
that
do
he
not believe that
contacted the fire
because Lenny would
department.
not let that go. I know he would not let that go. And the next one would have been me, and I would not have let that go. So-
I would suggest reaching out to Mr. Olson and see how
There,
we
there is a
contacted what he
big
did.
lack of communication.
Absolutely,
He's
we
meeting with
agree.
Lenny, I think, on March the
We
6th.
agree.
I know,
We had
I know.
the
That's a
fire department-
legitimate question to ask the man.
Yes, because there has been no contact through the El Remo Fire Hall.
Just repeating what he said.
Yes, I know you are, and I'm not blaming you. Not in the least, I am not.
I called Tyler Olson the first week of January to arrange for him to come out here, meet with the fire departments. Because we, as Michelle had said, we're getting numerous complaints, rates going up, people getting dropped, so forth. And it's a big snowball that's rolling down.
Yes, it is.
All we're trying to do is come up with an expedient way to reduce the cost and make sure people have coverage. El Rema has the opportunity on March the 6th to get in line, find out what needs to be done, provide whatever information they need, and let's move forward. Right now, we have an
I
emergency.
agree.
It
Yes,
needs
we
to be
do.
done.
We do. And it's a big emergency.
Absolutely.
And like I'm saying, not blaming anyone here. No,
That's fine.
the only thing
Appreciate
I
that.
could possibly blame is a little bit of lack of communication.
I agree
and
with
phone
that.
calls go a long way.
If you read all the stuff I read in the last 6 weeks, there's a lot of lack of communication going on from the legacy issues that
Oh.
we inherited.
I'm sure.
And
I'm
this
sure
board
probably.
found out about this main problem in January, and we did reach out to everyone from
Where's
Washington County.
the home building being stopped?
Home sales stop, not home building.
Oh, okay, no, you had said home building before.
No, home sales.
Yes, you did. You said
No,
home
I didn't.
building.
Okay, let me just,
No,
Lenny, when you have this,
sales.
when you have this meeting on October 6th, I'm sorry, March 6th.
March.
I like to be there for that meeting. Is it gonna be here? Where's it
The
gonna
fire
be?
department has to be at the fire, they're gonna inspect all the equipment.
Yeah.
I'd like to be there for that.
Anybody's more welcome to come.
So when the home sales go through, the underwriters look at the mortgage and the insurance. The insurance is kicking. They can't get the mortgage because they can't get the insurance.
Never mind, I will let that go with that, thank you.
Heather Dare. That will be the
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
You'll have to speak up.
I'd like to address the ladies and gentlemen of Union Township and first saying thank you to Chief Lenny Bailey for doing what you do. Thank you to Sam Lytle and all the other fire department gentlemen here. We sleep under our blanket safe because you do what you do. You do it without getting paid. You do it selflessly, and you've been doing it a long time. And we appreciate it.
Excuse me,
We love you
Heather?
guys.
Are you addressing the board?
It's my 4 minutes, Mr. Steer.
To address the board.
I didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah,
So,
we can't hear you.
I'm sorry, you
We
can't
can't hear you, no.
Okay. You threw me off a little bit. Okay, so that's what I wanted to first say to the firemen. Mr. Seiler, is it? Who is our new emergency management coordinator? Is that you, sir?
Yes, it is.
Are you NIM certified?
Not yet. I'm giving.
Why not?
Okay, yes, folks. Mr. Seiler, I was hearing that is not NIM certified. When I was on the board, and this isn't about me, this is about the fire department, I
thought it about
was
emergency
concerned
management.
I'm sorry, Mr. Creed.
Was the comment about emergency management or?
Just let her talk, Michelle. Come on.
Why you put it around her and let her talk?
I would lay in bed the night before reorganization and pray that Lenny Bailey would take emergency management coordinator. Okay? I've been in disasters in Union Township and floods. I've been boots on the ground I've seen this man with dinghies in 10, 20 feet of water saving families. Mr. Seidler, have you ever reviewed the Emergency Management Operations Manual from Union Township?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that.
Process will be right.
I think that it was a detriment to this community, and I think strange timing with all this going on to not appoint Mr. Bailey as the Emergency Management Coordinator. I think it speaks volumes to what's going on here tonight. Secondly, my name was mentioned, and it was a big surprise. I came here with concern like the rest of the community, and my name was dropped a few times. So just to be clear, did one of you say that this Tyler person, I spoke with him on the phone?
That's what he stated.
He stated, is it somewhere in your resolution?
No.
Okay, is it, he stated that, or is
Yes,
it in
to,
fact in a document?
No, he stated it in the meeting with the fire departments and the chief of police.
Okay, I've never talked to Mr. Olson, so I'm going to dig
It only-
into that, and I hope you all have your facts on that.
Absolutely.
Mr. Makel, or do you have your facts on
He
that?
wasn't
Or
at the
I-
I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay, well, you've also made some statements, broad statements, that I've received in or communications from this gentleman. I've never heard his name prior to tonight's meeting. You've also mentioned my name a few times. The emails you've attached to this resolution do not have my email address on here.
No, it's imploring the secretary.
Imploring?
Yes, to have the secretary,
Okay, well, why was I mentioned?
because you were the chairman.
Okay, I was the chairperson.
He sent registered letters in 2000.
Where are they? Why aren't they attached? Do you have those?
You can do a right to know for those.
Do you have those?
Yeah.
Why are they giving us a photo? Put it
I've
on
seen
there.
a couple.
Okay, who signed them?
I don't know that.
Do you have the
Why not?
receipts on who signed those? Oh, it's important
Are
because my
you saying
name
that, are you
was
saying?
mentioned here. and
He
it's-
said he spoke to you on the phone.
Okay,
I
all right,
just-
then I'm gonna get to the bottom of that. I
Absolutely.
hope that that's
He told
truly
every
correct.
fireman that was here and
I
the
can
chief
tell
of
you I never
police.
spoke with them. So, moving on from there, again, I wanted to thank the fire department, and I think my last question was, regarding the meeting you had prior to this meeting. Was it a special meeting? Was there any decisions made?
No.
Okay,
You mean the one with
Information
Mr. Olson?
gathering.
yes.
No, it was conversation between the different
Gathering
fire
information
departments.
on what was.
It was more informational gathering.
Okay, did you have a discussion with Mr. Bailey about next steps and having another meeting arranged?
I think there is one for March the 6th with the
He had that
ISO
arranged with-
representative.
He had that
Okay,
arranged
so
with
that's a
Bonnie.
decision.
No, that was arranged by phone call with Mr. Bailey and Bonnie for my.
Did you all agree to go to it?
No.
No.
No,
That's a-
I set that meeting up after I left that meeting. That
it
meeting
was
not-
Okay.
between
So, but good try.
Lenny and
I didn't tell him
ISO.
after he left.
Well, so when was the public going to be updated about this information gathering meeting?
We let them know today's the first meeting that we've had since then, so we
Okay.
let them
Well,
know.
I think it was, I think the crisis management has been handled very poorly.
Could you,
as you-
while you're here,
I'm-
could you tell
I'm
me
sorry,
why Sam
Mr.
Carroll
Dupree,
from Harshman is
Mr.
listed
Dupree,
as the emergency
you
management
are
coordinator
trying
at
to
the county?
incite a
I just was
public
curious,
member.
it's an opportunity for me to ask you as the
And you've
former
been on
board
the
chairman.
board since 2022,
Yeah,
right?
well,
So this.
as
this
everyone
email-
knows, you voted me, you guys voted, put on agendas to vote me off the bank account, not give me keys. So you think anybody told me about a letter to the secretary?
Okay, so in any
But
event, I hope that
could
you
you-
all, the other
Mr.
members.
Borney was on the board, did you know about it? You were on the board at the time.
I think you're
Absolutely. You want
becoming
a copy of
unruly,
the email?
Mr. Dupree, and
All right,
I don't
okay,
want
that's-
to.
All right, okay, I understand.
It's
Did you know?
it's
So
odd.
I
It's
figured
odd
an
behavior.
opportunity to ask you, why is Sam Carroll at Harshman listed as the emergency management coordinator at Washington County?
Mr. Dupree,
You don't know? I mean,
you are a supervisor. You've been
well,
here
it
for
was
3
before I
years.
was on the board you listed him.
You're,
So, I mean, you're saying thank you to Mr. Bailey, and I thank him too. That man works hard.
you've
He
been
is
here
here. I
for 3
mean,
years, and I'm not going to
why
debate you.
didn't they have Swift insurance? Why was Lenny Bailey running into burning buildings with no workman's comp, Miss Dare?
Because he didn't
All
know
right.
that they didn't have the insurance
So
paid.
they did. They did.
The township.
They did, and I
You were
did.
here.
I did
You were a
pay it.
supervisor.
I did pay it. Remember?
You were
I'm the one that
years
found
later.
out
All right,
about
let's
it.
go, okay. Is that
For
it?
3 years, you
All right.
didn't pay
Is
the
that it for you?
workman's
All
comp.
right.
He didn't pay the fire hydrant bill.
Thank you, Heather.
Neither did you, Michelle.
Oh, I did. I was the one that brought it to everybody's.
Last year.
Remember
and said
when
it was
Paul Van
late.
Oswald was doing the report?
I
Yeah,
said it was
All right,
that
let's
was
start
me.
acting like adults now.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's, okay. Miss Dare, you done?
Mr. Mabel, I'm forced to be done, and I just want to go on record that this kind of harassment was indicative to why I left. I'm a public member, and I'm standing here trying to make a public comment, and I'm interrupted, I'm harassed. It's egregious, it's disgusting. It's awful, I'm
All
sorry.
right, okay, thank you. All right, that's it. Kevin Dare, please.
So soon?
So getting back to the meeting that you guys had last week, you called it an informational gathering meeting.
Yes.
My name is Kevin Dare, 6187 Route 88, Finleyville. It was an informational meeting only.
Right.
You had no decisions.
It was we brought him in with the two fire departments to get some information on the process going forward.
Why we were getting the calls and
And the
letters
letters
for
from
the
insurance
insurance companies.
Okay. So this meeting that we're having tonight, how did this come about? And why did it come about?
The chairman has the ability to call a special meeting.
Based
Why?
on the information that was gathered.
Based on the information gathered, you decided to call a meeting, and each one of these people agreed to be here.
It's not a violation of sunshine. It happens all the time. You call people when they call a special meeting, that's called by the chairman. And the chairman calls a special meeting, and they set it up with people's schedule. That happens all the time.
Secretary then reaches
No,
out
it
to
is.
the,
So a decision was made to have this meeting tonight based on that meeting and that informational gathering.
The chairman called a special meeting. Okay, that's it.
Based on that information.
I don't know. I have no idea why it was called, but the chairman called a special meeting.
based on
chairman
further
can do they
phone calls with Washington County, based on further phone calls with PAWC, based on a lot of stuff. I requested a special meeting.
Do you think that maybe you should have had the public at that informational meeting?
No.
Why don't you believe that that would have been important to have the public here at that meeting? You say you're concerned about the public and the house sales and the insurance, high insurance bills that they're getting. Why would you not be transparent enough to have an informational gathering meeting, to have all those people come in and get the same information that you guys got from that meeting that led you to have an emergency meeting tonight? Why would you not do that?
We needed to be educated, and Mr. Olson provided a lot of insight as far as the rating system is concerned. His insight into the improvement process was a general discussion, and he did probably 80% of the conversation. And then he went aside in an attempt to get El Rama up to where they need to be, or I guess down to where they need to be. And he had a conversation with Mr. Bailey, and subsequently that meeting on March 6th, I think, Kevin, is the date, to try to improve the situation down there.
But you would agree, Larry, you're a reasonable man. I know that.
Sometimes.
You would agree that it probably would have helped some of these people in the public to more understand the issues that were going on from Mr. Olson, from his mouth.
I think it would be like any meeting, we probably wouldn't have accomplished anything. And what ended up being accomplished was it was insight into the process, our deficiencies, and it ended up being a positive thing because he's going to take the time and come out and try to improve El Rama, which subsequently could be the answer to the situation that we're back here babbling about.
I see here you've attached some emails to the agenda, or to the resolution. First one was 8/12 of 2020 from Mr. Olson. Is that correct, Ms. Dupree?
I don't know what you're reading. Is it correct? You're reading it. I guess it's correct. What are you questioning?
She doesn't ask this morning.
So I'm reading an email from Mr. Olson in 2020. So during that time, we could all agree that that was in the heart of COVID. Heart of COVID.
What is your point, Kevin?
Michelle, that was the
The
day
next-
we removed a felon from the board.
Yeah, that was
The
the day
next-
we removed the
Okay,
felon
wait a
from
minute.
the
Okay, let's-
prior board.
Listen,
Okay.
I have a public comment.
Then
Please do
say it.
not.
Why are you asking like it's a
You
witness
got about,
stand
yeah,
thing?
Mr. Dare, you got about another minute to
Say
go.
your
Go ahead.
comment,
Okay, let's
Kevin.
go.
The next
Let's
thing
talk.
is, we have another email from 8/18 of 2022. Are you trying to tell everyone here that Mr. Olson stopped trying to reach out to Union Township after 8/18 of 2022?
Maybe he reached out to another board member. I don't know. That's from the secretary's email addresses. Maybe
So-
he
so
talked
you-
to the chairman too.
You've been a supervisor since January of 2022.
Yes.
So this is, you were here when all this was going on.
I was here when they were contacting the secretary and the chairman, yes.
You were here.
When they were contacting the secretary and
All
the
right, you
chairman,
got-
yes.
As a result, you were here, and we know this because of some of the activity that happened during that time.
All right.
Yeah, some of the activity, like the fire hydrants not being.
Okay,
painted or
Mr.
the-
Dare, you're-
And that's a very good point, Michelle. Last year, you sat at this board table. My 4 minutes are up, but this woman keeps bringing up information that needs to be.
But you know, you have 4 minutes of public participation. I'm sorry.
She sat here.
He got 6
Listen,
minutes.
I'm saying what I have to say.
No, you're done.
Okay?
Right?
This woman sat here.
She interrupted him so many times.
This woman sat here last year as the chairman of the board, and she said, "We are late on our hydrant bills."
That
The
wasn't
same
last year,
bills
it
that
was the
were
year
late in
before, It was the
2022
year before.
that she made a
It
big
was
deal
not
about.
last year. It
She
was
sat
the
here
year
last
before.
year and she told Larry Spar,
Mr.
Linda
Dare,
Evans, and
You're-
I
Steve
did
Parrish,
not-
Kevin.
that's
we're in the
Kevin.
weeds.
stop.
Kevin,
Mr.
We're
Dare,
in
you're
the
done.
weeds.
All right.
We're late on our fire hydrant.
No,
Okay.
we
She
didn't
said
say
it.
that.
Mr. Dare, you're done.
That was
Okay.
not said.
Mr. Barney, you're up next.
I said we paid $8,000 in excess fire hydrant late
Okay.
fees.
Okay.
Not that we were late at the time.
All right.
We have it. We
Okay,
have it.
Mr. Dare.
And thank you to Ms. Puglisi for putting it up.
All right.
But we have it.
Mr. Dare, you're done. Okay, Mr. Barney, you got 4 minutes. 7:13. Go ahead.
Mike Barnup, 4042 Vanilla Road. Obviously, there's a lack of transparency and communication between the board and the residents. Has anybody, let me ask this question. Would any of you miss this meeting if you didn't see it on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes.
So, because I'm old, not as old as, I read the Observer.
I got more hair than you.
Yeah, you do. I read the Observer report. It gets delivered to my house. And I see the special meeting. What is this about? I don't know. I had an inkling that it had something to do with me not being able to get better rates on my homeowners insurance. To look at it and find that they're going to disband El Remo Fire Department. Come on, call it what it is. Let's call it.
Well, call it actually what it is then, Mr.
Wrong.
Barnett. It's not a disbanding of the fire department, so call it what it is.
Everything else.
That's your word.
Okay. So, yeah,
Call it what it is.
first
We
steps.
want to help them. All right, well, I hope that,
We're gonna,
this happens.
with all due respect, we're going to be utilizing the services of a professional fire chief from Mount Lebanon or Upper St. Clair. And
So
that
they're not
person-
professional? What does that mean?
Oh, professional means a person who's a paid fireman. No,
That's the term that he's using.
No, when I say, it basically, no, I understand, but I talked to Lenny before. I want to fast track the whole situation in terms of the ISO rate. That's what I want to do.
Okay. So the point of transparency and communication obviously went down the toilet. That's my main point here. How so? Because half of these people wouldn't be here if I didn't do a little due diligence.
It was also
and post
posted on the township's
Yeah,
website.
because
The
your
agenda was
website's
posted
real
on the.
popular with social media. So
If
anyway,
the residents are
hang on a
interested,
second, Michelle, are you?
if the residents are interested, the
Okay.
information is there.
You done? permission to finish my thought.
It's hard.
Back to NIMS. I have friends in East Palestine, Ohio. I went there March of last year after a train derailment happened and toxic plumes went through the sky. We are less than, 300 feet from a train? Obviously, they're struggling. I don't know if they had a NIMS certified person on their emergency management, but did you know, in order to get emergency assistance from the federal government, your township emergency manager coordinator must be NIMS certified. So if tomorrow, God forbid, a tornado, a hailstorm, something devastating, yeah, absolutely. Don't shake your head. It's a FEMA fact. I have it.
Do you know that you have to also have approved the hazard plan for Washington County and adopted it by resolution, which was done last month here, and it sat here for 2 years.
Are you NIMS certified?
No.
Okay, so what happens tomorrow? There's an East Palestine moment in Union Township.
We didn't qualify for FEMA money anyway.
I'm talking hypothetically.
Well,
So we're saying that
You
the
understand your concern?
emergency management plan wasn't registered with Washington County. So we weren't qualified for that anyway.
He just got appointed.
Yes, you got the answer. When you have a qualified, Lenny, are you NIMS certified?
Does he have the credentials?
Lenny is NIMS certified. Yeah.
Did Lenny not say in that meeting that he had enough on his plate anyway?
I wasn't going to argue about it. It was
Well,
done
we
enough.
can only go based on what we're told. That's what we're told.
I don't understand
So
why
from somebody being qualified to somebody
Rama
not being qualified. That's
did not get their money from Union Township. Finleyville did. Not talking down on Finleyville, but how was that fair? Like, was that the setting point of what's happening at this meeting? You don't give him the money. You don't make him emergency coordinator, and now you want to take away primary fire department from El Ramo. That's just look at it. Take a step back from that table and look at it as a resident. You would sit there for it. Thank you.
Okay.
I do have a comment. I can't make it nice.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, item number 4, new business. Consideration and possible adoption of a resolution appointing the Finleyville Fire Department as the primary first responder for Union Township. Is there any part of this I should read?
I'll make the motion.
Should I read it all?
Not me.
Is it diabetes on?
All you have to do is read. Tell them what the resolution is all about.
Well, I think we did.
All right. So this resolution before the board is not a permanent situation. And like I said, when Lenny has that meeting on October 6th or March 6th, I'll be down there, make sure everything's done the right way. What time is it scheduled then?
10 a.m.
I'll be down there. This is a resolution. It doesn't mean it's a permanent situation. And basically it's designating Finleyville to be the primary for the time being. That doesn't mean El Ramo still can't attend fires because there's a thing called, and I think we have the chief, Lenny knows what I'm talking about, called a run card. You know what those are.
Yeah,
The run card said,
And they are still a fire department.
right, so basically you have a run card. Basically, that run card specifies who shows up for the different types of emergency situations. And I'm certain run cards in this situation has both Finleyville and El Remo, correct, Lenny?
Yes.
So basically, they'll still be showing up, but this resolution doesn't mean it's a permanent situation. And as I told Lenny before the meeting, I'm not trying to soft pills, but I did want to be down there on March 6th to help him out. And when I mentioned about having a chief from a Mount Lebanon, it's not. I know you're professional, but these people are like you have a fire chief from Mount
They're just
Lebanon
offering their assistance.
to help out, make sure that they
career
protect
firemen,
the interests of El Remo. That's the whole purpose. So basically, it says it designating Finleyville to be volunteer fire company to be the primary fire department of Union Township. Basically, that they'll authorize run cars. The run cars have already been, but they're both in the run car. We have the chief here from Finleyville.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. The run cars have both you and El Remo on them, correct?
The majority of them do, yes, sir.
All right. So basically, nothing's going to change. Because what happens with 911 calls, El Remo will be called along with you, or how it goes pursuant to the run cards. And I learned about run cards because of the situation elsewhere. So basically, that's pretty much the whole process. It doesn't mean this is permanent, and I don't want it to be permanent. That's why I'm going to be down there March 6th to help you guys out, and that's what the resolution primarily provides. Okay.
And this is not a pleasant thing for this board to do. This is not something we wanted to do. This is not. I mean, this is terrible. But people are losing their homeowners insurance in this township. It is the only Band-Aid we can put on for now. People are losing their homeowners insurance.
I just got a question real quick. What is Finleyville's rating?
Well, I think there are 3.
5/5.
How can you have a good rating when they just got done saying half the fire hydrants aren't tested in the township?
They're going to be done by the end of the week.
Their rating is only for good for Finleyville Borough. It's not good for you.
Okay, is
No,
that right?
ISO gave us.
They're gonna have to get recertified for the township, and that's gonna take as long as what we're gonna be.
No.
Why
The
wouldn't it be
fire
so?
hydrants, the 8 locations of fire hydrants that were listed for ISO, because that has to do with the township's rating. As I said, 40% of the rating deals with water supply. So PAWC will give them those reports at those 8 locations within Union Township, and that part of the ISO rating will be based on that report from Pennsylvania American
But
Water.
their rating is only for Finleyville Borough, right? Right?
Finleyville Borough and our sector is primary knowing.
Okay, nothing with Union Township, though. Their rating isn't with you. So you're gonna have to get rated for Union Township, right? So that's gonna take time. You're saying this is gonna happen right away. Huh? Pardon me?
Since it's in their, not service area, but Union Township is in their servicing area, ISO said it will stand for the area.
You should explain some of that, though, when you were talking about it. We didn't know what their rating was, if they were rated for Union Township. or if they
Yeah,
were
they're
just
rated for their area of service.
When I talked to Washington County, Jerry Coleman, he said your rating should be like a 5 or 6 for El Remo. The problem was about this contact information.
I understand all that. I understand that.
Yeah, and again, we'll get this. My thing is to fast forward your rating as soon as possible.
He doesn't believe at all that the rating for El Remo will come back bad at all. He believes that it should be equal to Finleyville.
It just boils down to lack of communication.
He has no data. He just has, so the lack of data makes it a 10. He believes their rating is every bit as good as Finleyville's in the end when the data is collected.
It was just lack of
But right-
communication.
But right now, we're in a serious situation with the residents of Union Township that they're losing their homeowners insurance, and it's by the I mean, how many in the last 2 weeks?
I probably take 4 calls a week or more on people
That are
losing
just
large
being
amounts of
canceled.
money from their insurance.
That's beyond the letters. That is people that are just being canceled, and they're giving them what, a week or so's notice that they're getting
Sometimes
canceled?
it's literally on their last.
A week. That's
it.
Sir, I'm literally sometimes their last phone call.
You can.
It's true.
It is
It's true. I mean, I have good
that is
notes.
the administrative manager there. She is getting letters from insurance. They're passing them on to the township that their insurance is getting canceled in less than 2 weeks' time, less
Yeah,
than a week's
it
time.
varies. The time varies, but I've had calls saying, like right now, I need this letter.
This is not something. I mean,
I do have one other question. Where is the last house from Finleyville to El Rama.
You guys ready to vote? We're done. I don't know the answer to that. Do
I don't know. What, the last house?
Yeah, from Finleyville to El Rama. Where's the last house?
Would you know, guys? I mean, I don't live here, but.
Is that a question that you do know the answer to? And
No, it's just for like Finleyville address to El Rama address.
All right, would anyone, so you made the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there any second to the motion?
I'll second
So we have a motion by Mr. Spear and a second by Mr. Hanford. Any other discussion the board wants to have? Okay. Roll call, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Anyone want to make a motion for adjournment at 7:27?
I'll make the motion.
While you're here, this is something different.
Second that motion. All in favor of adjournment?
Excuse me, Michelle. It's my